Hello and welcome to Radiance the Podcast, a space where mysticism, embodiment, and modern wisdom meet. Hello, my name is Dr. Irene. I am a Chinese medicine practitioner, a Western medicine doctor, and a somatic guide. And thank you for being here. I'm so excited to be here with you today. And the theme that I am bringing into this space today is something that I see in my practice a lot because I work with women. And I work with high achieving women, women in leadership roles, and they come into my practice burnt out. And this is something that I see more and more in today's culture, in today's world, because again, we live in a very masculine centered culture, society. We are praised for productivity, for pushing through, for always being on. And this doesn't align with a woman's physiology and biochemistry and bodies because we are cyclical. We have rhythms. Like men go through one cycle hormonally in one day. But we women, we go through a whole cycle in 28 days. And we haven't been taught how to move through these cycles when we, as young girls. And I feel that this is a very important piece of the puzzle that has been missing in today's world, living as a woman in a female body. And because we have been programmed to live through this world as men, to be focused on our careers, to be focused on productivity. And remember that the patriarchy is about controlling nature. It's about, we want to control the weather. We want to control nature. We are raping our Mother Earth for resources. And this is a mirror of how we treat women and women's bodies. And not only outside of ourselves, but also us. We do that to ourselves, like our moon cycles have so much wisdom and medicine, and it's so beautiful when you learn how to tap into the different energetics of each phase of our moon cycle, because each phase has a light, has a shadow, has an archetype. In Chinese medicine, it's connected to a season of nature, to spring, to summer, to fall, to winter. So each 28 days, we go into different seasons. So that's why we're cyclical. We have rhythms. And if we don't honor those rhythms because of our lifestyle and because of the expectations in our families, in our jobs, in our careers, in the world, we start to override the signals of the body. We start to override the energetics of the body, and we start to go in misalignment, right? In Chinese medicine, we say that disease comes from an imbalance of yin and yang, of water and fire, of the feminine, of the masculine, of the primordial energetic principle and the primordial masculine energy and the primordial feminine energy, Shiva, Shakti, yin, yang. They're two opposites that complement each other. And together they make love and they create the world. They create, from yin yang comes the 5 elements or the 5 mothers or the 5 Shaktis, and they create the world. So when we are not in alignment with nature, with our own nature, we become misaligned. And in this misalignment, there is a cost. There is a cost in our health. There is a cost in our resources. There is a cost in our mental well-being and our emotional well-being. So in Chinese medicine, we see this as patterns that start to happen. So when a woman is in chronic stress, is in fight or flight, there is a constant inflammation in the body. In this inflammation, we start to use resources. So our body has a limited amount of resources that we inherited from our parents, and that creates our constitution. And that is connected to jing, to essence. And this essence is stored in our kidneys. Now, this essence has a limit, and this is the energy that we use for our bones to grow, for our sexual organs to differentiate when we go into puberty. When we encounter high stressful or traumatic events, we use this energy to be able to cope. These are like our inner resources. When we deplete these resources, we get sick and we die. So there is a limited amount of jing. No jing, we die. So that's why it's so important to have a healthy lifestyle, because what I'm talking about jing and the kidneys is prenatal resources, but then we can also cultivate postnatal resources that has to do with how we eat, our sleep habits, our mental health, our emotional well-being, the relationships that we have, the environment that we live in. All of that is going to inform your postnatal resources. So having a healthy lifestyle is going to give you resources so that you can deal with big events, challenging events, traumatic events, and you don't get depleted. The thing is that high achieving women are in constant go, go, go. They override the signals of the body, so they don't rest when they need to rest. They drink coffee, and I did this when I was studying med school and I was doing my internship. I had to do 36-hour shifts. And so in order to do that, I drank 2 liters of coffee every shift that I had to be on call for 36 hours inside the hospital dealing with high stressful events. And that shut my adrenals. That was a piece of the puzzle of my personal down spiraling health crisis that I had, that prompted me to put a lens in what I was doing in my life. And I knew that I had to make a big shift, and my spirit was dying. And that's when I made the transition into Chinese medicine, and I came to Canada to study Chinese medicine. And I received the medicine. I changed my lifestyle completely, my diet, started to receive acupuncture and herbs and therapy, and did all the things, and dove deep into my spiritual practices with my teachers. And I feel so lucky and so blessed that I was able to tap into those resources to regain my health and my vitality. So now I can give, and I can be of service, and I can walk my dharma from a full vessel. I'm not saying that I'm perfect, of course. I fall off the wheel, but I know how to come back into alignment, how to resource myself faster. And so I see this a lot with women in leadership roles, CEOs, mothers. You know, you mothers, you are in a leadership role. You are tending the households and the education and logistics. Also in entrepreneurs, you know, you hold so many hats, so many roles. The online space can be very, very demanding. I also see this a lot in my fellow doctors, therapists, spiritual facilitators. When you don't create healthy boundaries and spaces for rest, real rest and integration, and then you can burn your resources, right? And so this starts to, there's early signs where you know, you're fatigued, you have brain fog, maybe your cycles change a little bit, your digestion is a little bit out of whack. But then in the later stages is when the real burnout comes in, and then your hormonal axis, your HPA, your HPO start to become shut. Maybe you start to experience chronic pain, emotional overwhelm. And so we see this a lot in the early stages, where high functioning women are always thinking, right? You're always like, you're the visionary, you're the strategist, which is amazing. Like, that's an amazing skill to have. But when you cannot shut down your mind, you start to weaken your spleen, and your spleen is the governor of digestion. So if your spleen is deficient, then you cannot absorb the nourishment, the nutrients that you need to transform them into qi and blood. And so then you can have qi deficiency, blood deficiency. Qi deficiency can look like becoming very, very tired, a low appetite, blood deficiency. Maybe you start to have problems sleeping. You can have anxiety because the blood is grounding, right? Iron is grounding. So when you don't have iron, your shen, your mind, gets fluttered and restless. Then when there's a lot of stress, there is stagnation of chi because the energy is not moving, you hold on to so much pressure, expectations, responsibilities, and that turns into liver chi stagnation. And you can see that as stress, as tension in your body. Your jaw might be tight, your neck and shoulders, your ribs might hurt, you sigh a lot, PMS, irregular menses. So all of this can be signs for you to pay attention. And so remember that your body's not broken. Like, there's nothing wrong with you. This is just how you've been coping with life and how you learned how to live life. And up until now, maybe this is like what you've put most value into, which is maybe career and making money and your role in certain positions. And that's amazing, but you have to really stalk yourself and ask yourself, what is the cost? And is the cost of the benefit aligned? Or is it costing me more of what I am receiving? And if it is, you have to pay attention. And this is where the body is not wrong. It's not broken. It's giving you messages. Everything that happens in your body is a sign. It's a message. Your body has a lot of wisdom. So instead of bypassing it, taking some time, creating some space to listen and to look and to take stock of like, okay, is this really working? And I know changing anything can be difficult or scary, because remember that our ego, our identity, doesn't like change. It likes to stay in the status quo. So any type of transformational process, shift, change, there's going to be a resistance, and that is normal and expected. But you have to be willing to see it, to accept it, and through your power, know that you can say, okay, no, like that's not going to ride this train. My higher self is the one that is going to make the decisions. And if you're a high functioning, high achieving woman, I know you can do this, because you are smart and powerful, and you've been here before and you've done it before. And it's just about tapping into that power again. And sometimes remember that you cannot do this alone. You need someone to be there and witness you and hold space for you so that you can go through the experience, or mirror, bounce ideas, help you connect with your body, with your nervous system, and help you replenish yourself, resource yourself. We have blind spots, remember? Even though you might be a healer yourself, we always have blind spots. So it's always good to receive. And this is the other piece, like we haven't been taught to truly receive. And remember that you are worthy of receiving. And so, again, so it starts as a depletion of chi and blood. But then if we don't address these depletions, then it can go into a deeper depletion of yin and then jing. When it goes into your kidneys, then it's like, got to do something about it, because if not, you're going to get sick, and you're no help to anyone if you're sick. So what actually works for high achieving women? If you're still bleeding, I highly, highly, highly recommend you finding a way to reconnect with your menses, to your cycles. And if you don't know how to do this, I have a womb quiz based on Chinese medicine principles that you can fill out. It's free, completely free. And then you'll find out what type of womb you have. And then you'll get some holistic self-healing practices. And if you want to go deeper, I have a womb medicine bundle, which is a self-paced online course. It's really affordable, very accessible. It doesn't take a lot of time, because that's another thing that you women suffer from, like, I don't have time to do more practices. And it's not about doing more, it's about being. It's about reconnecting with your being, with your body, with your pleasure. And that takes devotion, right? Instead of seeing it as work, see it as a devotional practice for yourself, like self-love, self-healing, radical self-care. This is what is needed. And if you're high achieving women, maybe you need to pencil it in your schedule, like every Monday from 10 to 2. This is the time for me. Or every Sunday. I like my sacred Sundays. Sundays are my sacred days where I do a ton of my self-care practices, sauna, castor oil packs, womb massages, sexual practices. Like my sacred Sundays are my sacred days of rest and replenishing. And so, okay, so tapping into your moon cycles is very, very important because each phase gives you different medicines and different, you need to move through it in a different way. If you're no longer bleeding or you're going through this perimenopause, menopause phase, welcome, sister. Such a powerful place to be. And if you're there, maybe your cycles are no longer regular, but you can still take the womb quiz and you can still do the self-healing practices that are in the womb quiz and in the womb medicine bundle. It's for bleeding and not bleeding women. There's breath work, there's qigong, there's a yoni steaming ceremony. And these are really, really important for this type of women because it's about soothing your nervous system. It's about down regulating. It's about regulation of your nervous system, regulating your nervous system. Because you've been in fight or flight for so long, you need to reprogram your nervous system to feel safe again. And this comes from moving slower, from doing practices like qigong and breath work and meditation and womb-centered practices. We need to rebuild your qi, your blood, your jing. And here I love acupuncture, Chinese medicine, herbal medicines. Like herbal formulas are amazing for replenishing qi, blood, jing, for resourcing you. And nutrition is super important. So making sure that you're eating seasonal, again, talking about Chinese medicine and being in alignment with nature, like during the winter is really important to eat cooked meals, bone broth, stews, lentils. And in the summer, you can eat more raw, more fresh, more cool, more fruits, more vegetables. But that also depends on your constitution, right? Because if you are spleen deficient, only cooked foods is recommended for you, for example, so that you can absorb the nutrients from what you are consuming. So this is where a Chinese medicine practitioner comes in handy because they will be able to create bespoke herbal formulas for you, specifically for your condition, for your energetic patterns based on Chinese medicine. And herbs are amazing. Like they are super powerful. Chinese herbal formulas are freaking amazing. They have between 3 to 18 herbs, and they are created and designed so that they work in synergy. So there's like the emperor, the envoy, different hierarchies because they have different purposes in the formula. So one is going to be the main herb, but then the other one is going to allow that main herb to go to this specific system. And then the other one's going to be the herb that's going to regulate and balance. So they're very elegant. Chinese herbal formulas are very elegant formulas, and I love them. I love them for women's health and for mental health and for replenishing, for rebuilding, for resourcing, and they're just amazing. I've had so much good results with them in my practice. Also, it's very important to move the stagnations in your body, talking about women that have a lot of responsibilities and a lot of pressure, and there's like liver qi stagnation or blood stagnation. It's so important to move the body. So qigong, going for walks in the forest bathing, swimming in lakes and rivers, like immersing yourself in the elements of nature. So good to cleanse and to wash. It's so important to do energetic cleansings with smudging or flower waters or plant medicines. They work amazing. And as I say, reconnect with the body, reconnect with your womb, reconnect with your cycles, reconnect with your emotions, so that you can rebuild the relationship with yourself in a more complete way. So the invitation is that instead of pushing through, to stop and listen when you are feeling depleted, when you are feeling maybe you have trouble sleeping or your digestion is off or you have pain, like stop and investigate, get curious. Curiosity is the best element here. It's not about fixing, it's not about shaming or like something's wrong with you. Again, your body is a precious dynamic vessel that has all the power for self-healing. We just need to give it the right elements. So instead of forcing and pushing, you stop and you create a new relationship. You relate, you connect. So that's the invitation, that you can still be a high achieving woman. You can still have a successful career. You can still run a successful household. You can still run a successful entrepreneur project without burning out. You just need to do things differently, and you need to support your body with the right tools, with the right elements. You need to support your mind, your heart. And this could look like saying no to social events when you're near your bleed, or putting more boundaries around with your friends, with your families, and with yourself. Sometimes it's us that we don't put those boundaries. Say, no, I'm not gonna open my computer all weekend. I'm gonna do a digital detox. I'm gonna do a detox this spring. I'm going to do a detox in the fall. Those are the best seasons to do detox, the spring and the fall, based on Chinese medicine principles. And detox emotions, detox toxic relationships, everything that is no longer needed. And again, you can still be of service, you can still be a leader, you can still be successful without burning out. And so that's the invitation. And if you need help, I'm happy to support you. I do online sessions. I do Chinese online medical consultations for herbal medicines, but also qigong and lifestyle, and like life coaching, that kind of stuff. I also have a mentorship that combines Chinese medicine with body mind therapy and hypnosis for women that want to go deeper and want to do a season to go into a process of alchemy, of transformation. And that's it, my friends. Wishing you many blessings, and let me know what lands for you. I always love to learn from you. And thank you for being here. And I'll see you on the next one.